कामाक्षी टेम्पल के बारे में.
हाँ बेटा बताओ.
So it okay. It is जहाँ भी पढ़ा, it was that she's sitting, as you explained, that she's sitting is the only temple where she's sitting in a lotus pose, and has the four weapons, or that एक तब मेरे को एक क्वेश्चन भी आया था इसमें, skip of my mind, कि इसमें she was here in the fierce form first in this temple, but then Adi Shankaracharya, when he came into this temple, he suddenly felt very hot and then sang the Soundarya Lahari in her praises in that temple, and had made, or had matlab वहाँ पर he got that Sri Chakra, wherein she was pacified in that temple, and after that it was a less fierce form, that she became Kamakshi form. पता नहीं ये ठीक था या नहीं, but that's what I read. Or Kamakshi means that Ka stands for Saraswati and Ma stands for Lakshmi, and Akshi is eyes, so it's Lakshmi and Saraswati in that temple. That's what.
Okay.
In the form of Kamakshi, in the
Very
eyes of the god.
Very nice. Shani?
It's very similar to what I read, but I'll add a little bit. So Adi Shankara, the form was very fierce and not containable. So in order to personify her, he chanted Soundarya Lahari and established the Sri Chakra. And it's one of the Shakti Peeths in the country. There are 3 forms in which she is worshipped over there. One of them is Kamakshi, one of them is Sri Chakra itself, and then the third form, wait, I wrote it down.
I think it was something Bala Sundari, Bali, right? Bali something. I read this.
Yeah, Bilasa.
Bilasa.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. And also the Shakti Peeth is referred to as the Nabhistan. And I also found it interesting that in her description, aside from the weapons, they talk about the crescent moon on her forehead. And the Nabhistan se related story was how Dashrath was blessed with a son after worshipping, and specifically paying obeisance to her Nabhistan, and it was named so after that. And then at the entrance of the temple is Kal Bhairav and Mahishasur Mardini, which also I thought was interesting. Yeah.
Nice. Raman?
Just to add to it, it's called Nabhistan because when Sati had died at that time, she was holding the body and the navel part fell in that area. That's why it's called Nabhistan. And why Devi was in a fierce roop, because gods prayed to Devi to come and kill the demons who were bothering them. So that's why she came as a Kali roop. And that's why she remained in a fierce form, and that's how she was established there. But later on, Adi Shankaracharya requested her to be in a more meditative form, and which she complied and became that form, and that's how it was worshipped. And also, this place is more known for the debate between Adi Shankaracharya and a Buddhist philosopher, where Adi Shankaracharya defeated him about the existence of Devi.
Very nice. Sunita?
I read a lot of what they've already said. Plus, I read that Kaanchi is supposed to be considered like the navel of the world. I didn't really understand what this meant, and that all the nadis emerge from the spot, and they do yoni puja or womb worship, and every year there's like a rock, and from the cleft of the rock, some red fluid emerges, and it's supposed to like signify menstrual fluid or
What you've read
like
about is Kamakhya, not Kamakshi. So this is slightly different. Kamakshi is the temple in Kanchipuram. Kamakhya is the temple in Guwahati. Okay.
okay.
So there is a difference. For as long as you say Nabhi, that is correct, that is Kanchi. When you say Yoni, then it is Kamakhya.
Okay.
Okay, that's very
And
nice.
what does it mean that it's like considered the navel of the world from where all the nadis emerge?
It is symbolic, it is not literal. Everything in literature is symbolic. We'll talk about it.
And
And
also,
yes,
there was I know you explained about the noose and the goad, but it also said she was holding a parrot.
now you've gone to Meenakshi. So these
I
are
read
all separate spaces, separate forms. Meenakshi is
Even
different from Kamakshi. Kamakshi is different from Kamakhya.
I read that Kaanchi Kamakshi, along with the 4 weapons, there is a parrot perched on her shoulder.
Parrot on her shoulder, not on her hand.
Yeah, not on her
Oh,
hand, on her
okay.
shoulder.
Yes. Parrots generally signify the goddess, and it's very interesting personal experience. I remember when many years ago I had started doing the Lalita Sahasranam. One herd parrot walked into our house, and I didn't understand it then, but ever since we've always had, like, after that another herd parrot came into our house. We've never bought parrots. All the birds that we have are all birds that have been rescued, and they kind of congregate over here. But it started many, many years ago when I started doing Lalita Sahasranam, many years ago.
That explains. I have always wondered why do you have so many birds there? Okay.
Kaanchi is supposed to be considered the most powerful peat.
Yes, a powerful, all beats are powerful, and in literature of every beat, it will say that it is very powerful. The most significant of all of these stories is the fact that there is a fierce form and that gets transformed into a beautiful form of the goddess. The second most important thing in this entire literature is that in Kaanchi Kamakshi, even today, when they do the Abhishek of the goddess, they do it with the Soundarya Lahari. One of the jobs of the Shankaracharya is to recite the Soundarya Lahari while doing the Abhishekam. And you will find many videos or snippets to that effect.
So the Lalita Sahasranam is not the most important one in this puja. I mean, in this.
It's not about comparison. We're not comparing. Just saying there is live practice in that temple of the Soundarya Lahari on a regular basis. So if जैसे जहाँ पर जो चीज का उच्चारण होता है, whatever is recited wherever, वो चीज उस जगह पे, उस स्थान पे वो वाइब्रेशन सिद्ध हो जाती है. That vibration becomes a part of that. Like for example, when you come to my house and you chant, it is completely a different experience because these walls have that vibration for many, many years. Now imagine for 1,000 years, a certain thing has been practiced in a certain temple. That temple becomes very potent with that vibration. This is not about comparing one is important or the other isn't. Just what is. So for all practitioners of Soundarya Lahari, it becomes very important that at least once they should visit the Kamakshi temple at Kanchipuram and recite the Soundarya Lahari. It will definitely deepen their practice.
Trinka, whenever we go to South again, can we go there?
Yes, why not? Okay. So you have understood a little bit of history about Kanchipuram. Now,
I
do you
also
guys?
wanted to.
Yes,
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was trying to unmute. I also wanted to ask about this thing I read where there is a roop form of Lakshmi, like kind of it reminded me of the Shiva temple we went to where he was in the ether form. So I read that there is also a form like that in this temple.
There is a roop form of Mahalakshmi is there outside of the temple, and it is like an idol without faces. Like no face. There is no face to the idol. The idol is faceless, and it is considered very, very powerful to pray to the idol there. It is on the right side, right wall of the inner sanctum. Not inside the sanctum, outside the sanctum.
Mm.
And that is not pertinent for our discussion, but yes, from the temple point of view, it is there.
I was wondering if it has any significance to our discussion. Okay, fine. Yeah, there were so many things. I was wondering what all to capture. Okay.
There are two spaces inside the sanctum sanctorium which are relevant, not to our discussion, but relevant to know of. When you go to Kaanchi, firstly, you should have practice on the Lahari so that you're at least able to recite it, aside from Lalita Sahasranam. Lalita Sahasranam is very good. That anyways people do, so it is already said that that is popular. But Soundarya Lahari there should be definitely done because it has been the tradition from Adi Shankaracharya's time to recite the Soundarya Lahari every time they do the Abhishekam. And mind you, Soundarya Lahari is hard. We haven't been doing Soundarya Lahari for about month and a half. It completely escapes you. When I put up the chant yesterday, many of you found it very difficult to even read.
Yeah, for
So
me, that pronunciation was like very intimidating.
not only you, everybody. It will completely leave you. You have done sadhana of some chants. If you come back to them without practicing them for 6 months, it will seem like it's absolutely new. So it's a very elusive chant, and I've hinted, so I've talked about it many, many, many times. From the temple point of view, yeah, Lalita says now, but also Soundarya Lahari. The other thing, always when you go, make arrangements that you can go inside the temples, I told you. It needs special tickets, and that preparation needs to be done beforehand. So that is very important. Because inside the temple, there is an outer and there is an inner audience. When you are able to get to that inner audience space, that is when you see these two other things. There is a Ganpati Murti, which is also considered very auspicious. Um, and there is that Arup Lakshmi in the right hand corner. And there is a pillar with a hole in it, which is considered the space of the Nabhi, or the place where the Nabhi fell. And these spaces are not accessible if you are outside just doing darshan. So when you go to Kanchipuram, make sure you do all of these things. And then it's a very beautiful temple. You must take a parikrama after. It's a very beautiful temple. It has been renovated over years. The renovation went on for about 15 years, and now it is really, really beautiful. So totally worth 1 or 2 days trip to Kanchipuram. Now back to our subject. This shloka in the end says that I want that let me see you as Kaanchi Kamakshi. Please give me darshan like the Kamakshi at Kaanchi. So, of course, many inferences can be drawn. Whether you say this shloka can help you manifest a vision of the goddess, or you say that this shloka can help you have the sanidhya of the goddess. Sanidhya means companionship of the goddess. Or this shloka can mean to say that you have the grace of the goddess all the time with you. And also this shloka is talking about a very physical form. It is very described very articulately, very in a very physical, literally idol. It is a description of the idol, that there are 4 hands, there are 4 things that are held by each hand, and there is a beautiful, huge bosom, very small waist. There is a waistband, very beautiful with bells. Yeah. And a beautiful countenance doesn't talk about the face at all, because, like I explained yesterday, it talks about the countenance, that you are illumination at the top of this bust and this waist. There is illumination at the top. And this illumination is like the illumination of the uh, autumn moon. The autumn full moon is very relevant because most of the eastern part of the northern hemisphere, all of Japan, a lot of southeastern Asian countries have a very big festival which is called autumn moon only. And happens around the Purnima in this season. This is also the time of the equinox in the northern hemisphere. So the sunset and the moonrise coincide, and the moon is the largest that you can see in the northern hemisphere. And this moon has a beautiful golden glow because of the equinox being there. So it is not just moon, it is not just full moon, it is the countenance of an autumn moon. So you're just able to see not only the white, beautiful white light of the moon, but the red light that comes because the moon is there at the time of sunset. So you can imagine the moon coming up, not the red moon, but the moon with this beautiful red hue around it. It's not the red moon that we saw like some days ago. Yeah, that is very unfortunate, and it forbears the hard times. And we are seeing hard times. A lot of people globally are dying, and not red moon. It is a full moon with a red countenance around, or red background. That beautiful sunset red. The sunrise red is interesting, but the sunset red is very beautiful if you've ever observed nature. The best pictures are at sunset, not at sunrise. Sunrise is okay. It's nice if it's cloudy, it can make for some nice portraits. But the sunset is actually that Sinduraruna Vigraham. Sindurarun, that Sinduri रंग का जो सनसेट में एक्सप्रेशन है वो सनराइज में नहीं है. And that color is associated with the goddess. So there is an indication that there is definitely an illumination. It doesn't talk about the face, even though many um translations attribute a face to this shloka. In my understanding, I don't think there is a face. I think this is from a devotee's eyes. The devotee will never be able to look up, will always keep the eyes down. That's why the features are not described of the face. It says Sharat Chandra Vadana. And I understand Sharat Chandra as autumn moon, countenance. Vadana, countenance. So there is a beautiful red, luminous hue at the top. There is this huge, ample bosom. Very, very small waist, so small that you would have a hard time even trying to find it because it is so small. And there is also a reference to a yellow sari that has been worn by the goddess. A beautiful waist belt which has little golden bells, and 4 hands with these 4 very meaningful weapons. It is said that if you just meditate on the 4 hands of the goddess, you will be able to realize all the benefits of yoga, of turning your senses inwards, of being able to control your mind, of being able to realize your soul and be able to connect with that soul. Everything is possible with just meditation on, it is said, on just these 4 hands of the goddess. So the literal meaning, if you look back, and let's read it again, and we can probably understand it a little bit better. You can all see it, right? Kwanat Kaanchi Dama Kari Kalabha Kumbha Stananata. Now, you may not understand many words. Let's try and understand some though. Kaanchi, you understand now, since everybody's read about it. Then Kumbha, you understand what is a Kumbha? Are you all muted? I can't hear anybody.
A pot, a
A
Very
womb. Yeah.
yeah, Kumbha is like Gada, Hindi mein. Kumbh, Gada. कुंभ का मेला होता है. What is Kumbh Mela? Kumbh Mela is when the churning of the ocean happened and the ambrosia came out. It was carried by Dhanvantri in a pot, in a kumbh. And when it was taken away by the demons, that pot, in that fight, there were 4 places in which some drops fell. And people go to attend Kumbh because these are the 4 places where these drops had fallen at that time, when that benefit of those drops of ambrosia becomes known, Kumbh happens. So you understand Kaanchi, you understand Kumbh, Kumbh is Gada. You understand Stana, what is Stana?
Bust, bosom.
Bust, breast. Parikshina madhye parinata. So you don't understand much parikshina. Madhya you understand, in the middle. Parinata, you don't understand that. Sharat Chandra Vadana. This I just explained. Sharat Chandra Vadana. Sharat, autumn. Chandra Vadana, you understand, countenance. The third line we discussed yesterday. Dhanur Banan Pasham Sreni Mapi Dadhana Karatalei. So, Dhanur Banan Pasham and Sreni Dadhana holding Karatale. Kara, hand, tale. Purastadastamna Purammathitu Raho Purushika. So you don't understand anything on the line 4 yet, but what it means, and we'll go word by word, but what it means is that make yourself visible. O Purushika, make yourself visible. So in general, this is what it says, that the goddess who has this beautiful the goddess of Kaanchi, who has this beautiful yellow colored sari on with big breast and a very, very small waist with this beautiful golden belt, and this autumn moon countenance with these 4 weapons in her hands. Please let me see you like this. Yeah. This is in essence what it is saying. And this is the description of the Kaanchi Kamakshi. Now, to be able to understand the deeper meaning of the chant, and this is very, very deep, and it's very, very layered. Because obviously, if you do the sadhana, everything in Soundarya Lahari is very, very meaningful and powerful. And if you do the sadhana of this one, there is an actual chance that you'd be able to see. If nothing else, at least you'd be able to visit the temple. Right? On a very, very physical plane, it will make that trip possible. But if you're able to delve deeper, then it will not only make that trip possible, you would probably be able to see the vision of the goddess. And if you go even deeper, it can also mean sanidhya. Sanidhya means companionship of the goddess Kamakshi. Now, I gave a second assignment yesterday, which was to go back and understand the Dhanur Paushpam of the previous shloka. Has anybody done that work?
No, didn't realize that was a homework.
You understand the Kamdev's Dhanush and Pushpa. Uh, did anybody go through that? Everybody else answered some questions. Mrinalini, go for it. You'll have it somewhere easily accessible written, right? You're muted, by the way.
Yes, I have it written. Yes.
You should be the one to answer this question because you love flowers so much. We often see them only on your DP.
Yeah. So like so the bend of the bow, right? We had talked about how the bow has a slight bend, and that's the perfect um, bend. The sadhana requires discipline, and the bow is an example of how it has a bend, and the string has a tension. So, so you need that balance of a little bit of stress or tension in the bow or in your life to be able to do sadhana. Only then can you do sadhana. And it's not straight, it's bended, so it shows humility. Um, and the fact that it is made out of Kamdev's dhanush was made out of bees. So to be able to uh, have something like that, bring something together like that, one needs immense discipline. So the bow represents a lot of discipline that one needs during sadhana.
Very nice.
And the flowers represent spring, because Kamdev is associated with spring and the senses, and Kamdev is sort of uh, the Dev who controls and can control your senses to, you know, wonder. Um, and like Aishani said, the arrows are made out of flowers which bloom in spring, which is a very timely phenomenon. So again, coming back to sadhana, timely, discipline, tension, and humility.
Very nice. That's very beautifully explained. Anybody want to add something to it? Guess not.
Yeah, I just vaguely remember we talked about once we're doing something and it becomes a part of you regularly, you become a bit complacent and it becomes easy. So unless that is, am I going off the track? Unless that is the tension is kept, the stress of doing it kept. So that means increasing it time and again, the tension of the bow, it becomes less effective.
Very good. I'm glad you guys remember that much. Even if you don't, it is a good revision
There
to.
was also an
I
aspect
also
about
remember you said that having the bees in that shape requires so much concentration too,
Yes.
and
Aishani?
discipline.
it was very nice how it was associated with love, that in order to keep your in order to keep the fire going, in order to keep the devotion alive, you have to constantly fan it, you have to constantly tend to it. And that combination of doing that with the humility and the stress, so the bow and the tension, it's what allows you to truly tend to it.
Yes. To be able to even outwardly love somebody as a partner, or love the practice as a practitioner, it is very important to do all of those things. That is true. So, in essence, you kind of gathered most of it. Just takes this description of the bow just takes it to the next level. We have to remember that in the previous shloka we were talking about Kamdev's bow, and here we are talking Kamakshi's bow. So there are some differences, but from Kamdev's bow perspective, I think you've recalled everything very well. But from Kamakshi's bow, we'll discuss it further. Very nice. So I'm happy with that, with everything that you guys have done. So let's first write down and understand word by word meaning of the entire shloka. You guys up for it?
Yes.
Yes.
Kwanat. Kwanat is the sound of this beautiful bell. Kaanchi Dama. Kaanchi, golden sari. Dama. And of course, the one wearing the golden sari in Kanchipuram, many layers of meaning. Not only the bells of the jewelry that she's wearing, but the bells of that you start to hear when you reach a certain level of a sense, when your senses turn inwards, you start hearing divine sounds. Yeah. So Kanat Kanchi Dama, Devi who travels with this beautiful golden sari, and there are bells that accompany her.
We lost you.
Sorry?
Hello?
Can you hear
We
me?
lost. Yeah, now. Did
What did
everybody else look well?
Yeah, I could hear her. I could hear Shrinka.
Oh, I just got to tell not only the bells of the jewelry, but the divine sounds you hear when you turn your senses inwards.
Yeah. So the Devi with these divine sounds, with this golden sari adorned, Kwanat Kaanchi Dama, Kari Kalabha Kumbha Stananata. Kari Kalabha, this is the when elephants are baby elephants. If you have ever seen a baby elephant, they have a big bump on their head. It's a beautiful round bump on the head, forehead of the elephant. Now, Shadi Shankaracharya could have described breast in many ways, but he chose this example which just takes away any kind of sensual meaning from it. He's describing it very beautifully in a very physical form, but the example that he gives is of the forehead of the elephant, baby elephant. Like, let this not be treated as crass pornography by anybody because there is mention of a physical part of a female anatomy. He exemplifies it as the beautiful bump in a small elephant's head, in a baby elephant's head. So, like the bumps, like the kalash that form on the baby elephant's head, you have that kind of divine breast. And these, just like the bumps or the mounds on the elephant's head bend a little forward. It's not a straight bump. Like if you study fashion over ages, uh, breasts have been displayed in different fashion in different times. In the erstwhile times, you used to wear a corset and you could only see the voluptuous part on top. It gave way to this period where the peaks became important, where you had very geometrical looking bust for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And we've come to a time where, or rather, we've not come to that time. Before this time, like at this moment, it's different. But just before this, we had those push-up bras. So you were trying to emulate the peaks of the corset, the mound of the corset, and tend down the peaks of the generation before that. And in today's day and age, it's the time of sports bras. So there is really nothing which is really visible, and everything is tucked in and tucked back. So different, um, even in the last 100 years, we've seen the breast being presented or the bust of the female being presented in different ways. In this case, he's describing them not in a lure fashion. He doesn't talk about the cleft in between or anything. He talks about them being big kalash, so very round. And these are not sitting up straight. It's not like, the two generations before us had them sitting up straight. They had those pointy innerwear which could hold them up, hold them straight. All of you all either would have worn them or your mums would have worn them, right?
It's seen as a lot of 70s movies.
Yes, a lot of
Raj
60s,
dancer.
70s, even before that, 50s, 60s, 70s, 30 years that thing lasted. Just like for the last about 20 years, we've had the push-up generation, yeah, which is now slowly transforming now into a more sportswear kind of space. So here he's talking about none of what we've seen in fashion yet. I described 4 iterations of how breasts can be presented. Adi Shankaracharya is not describing them as either. It's not the cleavage, it's not the peaks, it's not the push-up, because it's not up. It's not the sports bra either, because it's not up, it's not held up.
Mm.
This depiction of the bosom of the goddess, which you can well imagine as the cradle or the bosom for mankind, is described as bending forward a little bit. The weight is so much because the volume is so much of the big ample bust that the body tends to bend forward a little bit. Is kind of like to say that the goddess is ever ready to take care of her children. Yeah. Ever ready to feed mankind or humanity. And that eagerness is indicated in that slight forward bend. He's not saying completely down, saggy. No, no, no. Slight forward bend, very beautifully put. Slight forward bend of these voluptuous, beautiful, large, very, very large bosom of the mother, which looks like the kalash on the forehead of an elephant, of a baby elephant. Parikshina. So, parikshina means, क्षीण means कोई चीज क्षीण हो गई. क्षीण means
Useless?
sorry,
Of no use?
खत्म हो गई, खराब हो गई, खत्म हो गई, नहीं है, not there anymore. Yeah. क्षीण, KSH double E and ana, pranam wala ana, क्षीण. Or something's gotten spoiled, or something's finished, That is the word kshin. Parikshina. He's using kshin here. And then this huge volume that we see on top absolutely becomes nothing. Parikshina. It becomes like from this big ample bosom, you're coming down to absolutely nothing. This is the waist, which is absolutely nothing. Very, very slim and so beautiful. Parikshit and Parikshena, both very beautiful, very slim, absolutely insignificant, so small. So beautiful. Parinita, Parikshina Parinita, Sharat Chandra Vadana. Already explained. Sharat Chandra, autumn moon, where the moon is so beautiful. This entire radiance engulfs us. Yeah, the beautiful red hue and that kind of radiance of the countenance is there. The kind of beauty that doesn't compare with anything in the world. It's pristine, but it is warm. Autumn moon in here is making it pristine, like something is very clear, very beautiful, very clear, very white. But still imagine putting a filter of yellow or red on it. Well, the white doesn't get compromised, but there is a softness around it. Autumn moon. Sharat Chandra Vadana. We also have Sharat Purnima, which is considered very auspicious, right? This is talking about the same Purnima day. The countenance of the goddess is like the Sharat Chandra. Pristine, but glowing warm. So everything over here is very approachable about the goddess, as opposed to a very fierce form of Shakti. When you start to meditate upon this form of Shakti, it's very approachable, it is very beautiful, it is very comforting, very warm. Dhanu, Bana, the bow, this is made out of sugarcane. So the beauty of sugarcane is that sugarcane is sweet. Is it bitter?
No,
Sugarcane is always sweet. If you crush sugarcane, what will come out?
juice.
Sweetness will come out. Everything that we understood about the Dhanush in the previous shloka, it almost indicated that it was everything to do with the mind, right? Control, tension, practice, constant effort, strung really right? Right? Yes? What needs to be strung right? Mind. But all of this effort that you're putting in creating a bow, it needs to be a bow of sugar cane and not something bitter. What does that mean? The activity or the effort that you are trying, something you're trying to achieve. Obviously, you're so taught, you're working so hard, you're in such perfect discipline, you're doing so much sadhana. All of this you're doing with your mind, right? Are you guys listening or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You're doing it with your mind. All of this activity is being done by the mind. But if the object of these activities is wrong, then the result will be World War II by Hitler or whatever kind of war China is waging right now. You're going to be able to achieve very big success, but in the wrong direction. Here, the bow is made up of sugar cane. So when this whole activity is complete, it requires sweet juices to flow out of it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
It cannot be a malformed activity. It cannot be a malformed intent. It cannot be a malformed uh, what you call vikalp. Good activity should always be a sankalp. Sam matlab perfect, very good, very beautiful, perfect. That's why it's called Sanskrit or samadhi. We talked about that in one of the other sessions. So some means beautiful, some means something which is very perfect, something which is very good. That's why we do sankalp. We are doing all this puja for the goodness, not to destroy anything, not to hurt. The intention is not wrong. The object is not wrong. You cannot have a sankalp for a bad activity. You can only have a sankalp for a good activity. So, bow that makes any activity possible needs to be made of the sugar cane. Does that make sense? Do you understand?
Mhm.
Yes.
So that positive activity, positive intention, positive work can be attempted. And the highest work can be attempted. The highest work, the epitome of work. Let sweet nectar flow. Let it be the most beautiful, the best work ever possible. And what can that be? The work of reaching supreme consciousness or the work of realizing yourself. That is the highest sattvic work that you can do. Everything else can be rajasic or tamasic, and I'm sure by now you understand, all of you, rajasic and tamasic.
Yes.
Yeah, so dhanush has to be made of sugar cane. There also in the last shloka, there is a mention of honeybees. Yeah, it is not just bees, flies, mosquitoes, cockroaches. No, no, no. And here we are taking it a step further because there the objective is also to talk about propagation with Kama. Here we are not talking about propagation. We are only talking about the best, the highest, the most divine objective that you can have with your mind, or you can realize with your mind. Sankalp as opposed to Vikalp. Only when it is Sankalp it will be sweet. So the bow is made out of sugar cane. Bana, arrows, and we will talk in detail about these arrows, but there is a mention of 5. It is not mentioned over here, but mythologically there is a reference to always 5 arrows. And 5 is a very, very important number when it comes to philosophy. There are 5 senses. Yeah. You can say you're using the sugarcane bow and your senses to reach the sankalpa. 5 is also the 5. You all know the 5 senses, right?
Yeah.
They're all,
Yes.
yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Then the 5 tanmatras, shabda, sparsha, rasa, rupa, gandha, which is the work of the senses. Then there is 5 elements: air, water, bhumi, jal, vayu, agni, brahma. There are 5 karmindriyas: pad. What are the 5 karmindriyas? Anybody?
In English, I can say it.
Okay, in
Uh,
English.
your mouth, your hands, your genitals, anus, and nostrils. 2,
No.
3, 4.
Your mouth, it works. Your
Oh,
penis,
hands.
your penis, your hands, and your legs. So if you use your 5 karmindriyas to do a sankalp, yeah. So 5 is a very magical number, and and you should really spend some time studying all the 5s, and they're all so interrelated. Maybe we can discuss it tomorrow. But the tool is Dhanush, and no matter what you put in it, so you put senses, you can realize God by doing that. You put elements, you can realize God by doing that. You put karmindriyas over there, you can realize God by doing that. You put tanmatras, you can realize God by doing that. So layer after layer after layer after layer, if you're really, really gross, if you're really at a very superficial level, then use your 5 karmindriya. जो हम उसमें बोलते हैं Shiv Shiv Manas Puja. Can somebody recite the last stanza of the Shiv Manas Puja?
Karacharan kritam va,
Very good.
jam karmajam va, shravananayana jam va, aparadham.
Manasa Vaparad. Very good.
Mamanasava parad. Vihitam vihitam va. Sarvametat kshamasva. Jaya jaya karunabde. Shri Mahadev Shambhu.
Very good, Jitaro. So, 5 karmendriyas, let's say, and it is mentioned like that in many texts. Like every step I take, it's like a holy place. I'm going to a holy place, or I'm circumventing your abode. Everything that I do with my hands, let it only create prasad. Everything that I see, let me only see God. Every word that I say, let it only be your prayer. Like that. If you're at a very gross level and you don't know anything else, you can do at least that. Go to spiritual pilgrimages, do holy work, do seva, say the word of God. Yeah, like that. So you use your sugarcane bow mind, sankalpa, to work with your 5 gross bodies. Yeah. Say you are a little bit more realized like Nima, you sit down in meditation, try to get your senses inwards. When you're using your subtle bodies, your subtle senses. Say you are even more realized than that, then you can reach the sense itself, not the senses, but the sense itself, the tanmatras. The essence, you start hearing voices, you start tasting tastes, you start smelling beautiful smells. This is not turning the senses inwards, this is actually experiencing them. Don't have enough time to discuss everything. So we'll call it off now and I'll go through the rest tomorrow or next week, whenever you guys decide to have another class. Is that fine?
Yes.
Yes.
It will take me a bit to explain Pasha in detail. So, and I have another class, right?
Mhm.
So, thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next class.
Yes, thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you so much. Namaste.